Good morning, kids, and welcome back to another video of Fox Flicks on Outside Xbox. Today we're checking out 6 of the most popular DLC items that actually broke their games. Let's hop in and just see what destroyed the code.
Video games have to be expertly balanced so as to provide a fair
Hey
and
Jane,
level playing
how's your
field
day
for
going?
everyone, is I'm sure what game developers would like you to believe. In real life, as anyone who's played online can tell you, all kinds of overpowered metas emerge, and there's often no bigger culprit than downloadable bonus content created by developers to make money at the cost of tipping the balance of the game strongly in favour of those with the cash to splash on it.
Yeah,
See for
she's
yourselves
right.
with these 6 overpowered DLC items that totally ruin the game. Or, for your convenience, I will read out a list of the games in this video for a one-time fee of $3.99. Anyone? No? Okay,
Now,
fine.
they get for free with me. Oh, the Gaia skin from Call of Duty. Oh, it's actually not giving us a list. Huh, okay. It's hopping straight into it. So the Gaia skin, what's that?
Say what you like about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, but it is certainly a game in which you can shoot guns at other people online. Or at least you can if you can see them, something that is apparently a problem if they've got the unlockable Gaia skin for the operator Neela Nova Brown.
Oop, hold on folks, we'll be right back. And we're back.
Dubbed the Groot skin by COD fans because it makes your character
Oh.
look like a tree person, the skin was first introduced in 2022's Modern Warfare 2.
And yet, weirdly enough, you can still tell that the skin is slightly feminine.
But has been receiving backlash in Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone for the fact that its green and brown colour palette and see-through limbs and torso make it, in the words of some fans, literally invisible.
I mean, isn't it like a whole kind of point of it? Or something, I
It's
don't
a
know.
particular problem on maps with a lot of brown and green on them, which, spoiler, is a lot of Call of Duty maps, but the fact that you can literally see clear through big parts of this skin doesn't help the fact that it can be almost impossible to spot in the heat of a frantic game of Team Deathmatch. At time of recording, the Gaia skin has been deemed so game-breaking that developer Sledgehammer Games has had to remove it and its Black Cell variant from the game to, quote, adjust it. Presumably by putting a big headlamp on it or a sandwich board reading Call of Duty player over here, because honestly, at least the real Groot had the decency to be 8 feet tall.
No, that would actually be something. Make it taller but still see-through. Hero of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Hero? Oh, from, what's that game? Dragon Quest?
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch has 82 playable fighters, ranging from such instantly recognizable figures as Mario and Link, to obscure cult
Classic.
characters like Ness from Earthbound, the Ice Climbers from the NES game of the same name, and Min Min from
Classic.
the wildly unpopular ARMS.
That was just trying to get
Stop
some
trying to
hype.
make
Everyone
ARMS
knows
happen,
that.
Nintendo. Let it go. Of course, balancing that many fighters so that they're all equally capable in the right hands is no easy task, but most would argue that Nintendo pulled off an impressive feat of actually managing it with the main Smash Bros. Roster. And then we get to the DLC characters.
Here we go.
Competitive Smash Bros. Is a big deal, and so far, several characters have been banned from competitive play, and they're all DLC. Often cited
that
are
makes
Steve,
sense.
the playable character from Minecraft, and Kazuya Mishima from Tekken. Both were banned from Ultimate's biggest tournament series in Texas. Steve for his playstyle which rewards actively not engaging with the other player and mining for resources instead, and Kazuya for his brutal combos that can take out an opponent in just a few hits.
Now that is a little overpowered. Seems like you're gonna also
But for a
stun
character
lock
widely
you.
held as being, quote, anti-competitive, it's got to be Hero, a DLC character from the Dragon Quest series.
Ah,
He
I was
temporarily
right.
banned from Smash competition in Australia and France due to his moves recreating the random chance aspect of the Dragon Quest games.
Whoa,
For example, one
that
of
was
Hero's
impressive.
specials, Command Selection, gives him a turn-based RPG-style menu that features 4 random attacks from a larger selection every time you use it. And he also has a critical hit mechanic, which gives his smash attacks a random chance to be way more powerful.
Sometimes the hero's smash
Okay,
attacks result in a
okay.
critical hit. It happens at random, but when it does, you'll perform an extra strong attack.
Or to put it simply, a bunch of totally random BS it's impossible to prepare for or effectively counter. So come on folks, let's stick to the popular characters from the original roster, like, I don't know, one of the 40 or so Fire Emblem characters that are in there.
Nah,
It's not
I'd
like
be
you're
rocking the
spoiled for
Ridley.
choice. There's Horth or Blarm or I don't know, Dave. There's probably a Dave.
No,
Dave
that
from
isn't a
Fire
Dave.
Emblem.
Unless you name me Meme Dave. Boost and assist gems. Vital Street X. Tech. Oh, Vital Street Tekken. Okay.
In Street Fighter Cross Tekken,
like
two
Files-
titanic
okay.
fighting game franchises shared the same stage for the first time, letting fans see what would happen if Ryu faced off against Jin or Zangief squared up to King. And also the whole thing was taking place on a space elevator for some reason. But although Street Fighter Cross Tekken introduced
That
some
wasn't too bad.
unprecedented dream matches into the mix, it also involved a much less popular addition to the fighting game formula: gems. Gems came in two
Explain.
phases. These were boost gems, which would power up a character, giving them better stats in attack, defense, speed, or what have you, and assist gems, which included tools that let you break throws or automatically block attacks at the cost of some of your super meter.
So for instance, if you have the auto
That's not
block
too
gem
bad.
equipped, every time you would have naturally gotten hit, your gauge is going to be decreasing all the time. So you're not likely to be able to get to the point where you have a full cross gauge to be able to execute one of those attacks.
On the face of
That's
it,
not-
these
that's not
gems
too
were
bad.
intended to narrow the gap between weak and strong players, which is a noble idea, especially if you've had your ass kicked online as many times as we have. In reality, however,
That
what
makes
these
sense.
gems did more than anything was allow strong players to get even stronger, because they were the ones who understood the game the best and could figure out the combinations of gems that could turn an already good player into a godlike, unbeatable one.
He is a king among men.
What didn't help was that these gems were offered as DLC, with specific ones added as pre-order bonuses, and others attached to DLC content packs further down the line, meaning
Okay, that is
those
kinda
with
bull.
the cash to spend on add-ons had the widest variety of gems available to them, and the ability to dominate in the most varied ways. So, a nice idea,
That's a bit of
but
bull.
in practice, there aren't gems enough in the world to shore up my game. Sorry, Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Still looks like a pretty badass game.
I still don't have what it takes. I must train harder.
Tactical weapons bundle from The Last of Us.
Those of you who played emotional, story-driven single-player game The Last of Us might be wondering what it's doing in this list. After all,
Yeah,
what DLC
please.
items could possibly improve your experience in that game? A second daughter to die in the intro, doubling the emotional stakes?
No, don't.
Keep your eyes closed, honey.
Well, what you might have forgotten is that The Last of Us also included an online multiplayer mode called Factions, which shoved all that deep story
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I don't remember that in the slightest. Does anyone remember that?
telling out of the
I
window
don't.
in favour of everyone running around shooting each other with pistols and rifles and shotguns.
Somebody cover me. I'll take care of this.
And that's where the DLC came in the form of the Tactical Weapons Bundle. The Tactical Weapons Bundle included 4 weapons, a tactical shotgun,
Oh wait, that's actually kind of cheap. Huh. Okay, no, I don't see it as too much of a
burst
buyout.
pistol, frontier rifle, and crossbow. All of these DLC weapons were a cut above their vanilla counterparts in the game, offering better stopping power, range, and rate of fire, giving you a burst pistol that was as strong as an SMG, a shotgun with the range of a rifle, and most egregious
what?
of all, the silent, preposterously powerful crossbow. This crossbow fired in a
That's
straight
good.
line, unlike the default bow, which arced. It also caused bleeding, meaning players struck by it had to either find a way to heal up, leaking trackable blood everywhere all the while, or eventually bleed out, giving you a delayed one-hit kill. It was
Damn,
game-breakingly
you
OP, essentially, and before long, if you didn't have the tactical weapons pack, there wasn't much point in playing against those who did. But hey, at least Naughty Dog learned from their mistake, and The Last of Us 2's multiplayer didn't exist. Bit extreme, but I respect it.
Android 21. Yes, Android 21 lab coat specifically. What? Why specifically lab
It's amazing
coat?
the difference a lab coat will make, turning anyone from a regular schmo into a smart scientist. Or if you're Android 21 from Dragon Ball FighterZ, from a tough character into a game-breaking one. Android 21 is already in the base game, in both her good form and her evil form, but her lab-coated form was the last DLC character to be added to the game 4 years after its initial release in 2018. And if you ask most players of the game, her inclusion is what gutted the fledgling competitive scene.
So, hold on folks, we'll be right back. So, what makes the lab coat so overpowered? Like, please explain.
立ちふさがるなら容赦しません。
That's because Android 21 Lab Coat is just too powerful. So powerful, in fact, that pro players came to realise that choosing Lab Coat wasn't just an option, it was the only option if you wanted to be competitive. This is
Explain.
in part thanks to a super powerful selection of moves and abilities, including the fastest beam attack in the game, but even more so due to a fairly simple to pull off, unique to her command grab move that permanently debuffs her opponent's damage output for the rest of the match.
Okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. No, that is kind
As
of
such,
cool.
pro players came to feel like the only way to counter this debuff was to also do it themselves to level the playing field. And as Lab Coat is the only character with this ability, pro play turned into a bigger Lab Coat fest than the CERN Christmas party. You can argue the merits
What?
and drawbacks of Lab Coat all
Never
day,
mind.
but the reaction from the fighters community speaks for itself. The game's concurrent player count dropped 30% after her introduction.
Oh, damn.
And several high-profile players, including the USA national champion, quit the game entirely in protest at Lab Coat's dominance. Which, it's
Wow.
like these people have never even seen Dragon Ball Z. Ridiculously powerful characters appearing out of nowhere and wrecking everyone is
That's
kind of the
just
whole
a
point,
show.
guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything, everything, but all of the finest quality. No
Feast
cheap
day
trinkets
gifts.
here.
Dragon
My
Age
boy Sandal
Origins.
happens to be a bit of a hand with
Okay.
enchantments. Oh, yes.
While the rest of the DLCs on this list have been for multiplayer games, this DLC is for the very single-player Dragon Age Origins, a fantasy RPG that is as much about trying to romance your party members as it is about killing goblins or whatever. I said, or whatever. Like many BioWare games, Dragon Age Origins has an approval system working away in the background. As you adventure around with your party, they will take note of your actions, forming an opinion of you based on your deeds. There are also conversation options in which you can flirt with your companions to increase their approval and chances of you getting a smooch.
Well,
Oh.
tell me,
Well,
have you ever
Okay.
licked a lamppost in winter?
Or not, I guess. But none of that really
Is there
matters if
such
you are a
thing as a
purchaser of the
lamppost
game's
in this
Feast Day
world?
Gifts DLC. This was an
Meh.
extremely cheap, absolutely game-breaking bit of DLC that added new items to the shop in the party camp. These items were personalised gifts for each member of your party, such as an amulet for Wynne, a book of prayers for Sten, and a hand puppet for Alistair. Okay?
huh.
Please don't lick it, Alistair. The game-breaking aspect of these gifts was that giving one of them to its corresponding
Well.
party member boosted their approval rating by 50 points, making them instantly your biggest fan and immediately up for romance without any of the usual story beats, character development, or effort whatsoever, which kind of defeats the point of a BioWare
Useful.
RPG, if we're being honest. I mean, why bother going to defeat the Blight so it can't threaten the rest of Thedas if Alistair already wants to smooch me? I'd just be wasting valuable smooching time.
Is that for me?
Nah.
Really? Wow. Wow.
Those were a bundle of DLC
Oh, and that was it.
items that were thoroughly overpowered and ruined the game or improved the game, depending on which angle you're coming at this from.
Yeah, some.
If you've benefited from any of these OP items, let us know in the comments. This is a safe space.